Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something you create constantly, maybe without even realizing it, your personal data.
Right. It's this hidden powerhouse,
Yeah.
fueling so much of the digital world.
Exactly. And it's about to get, well, a radical makeover. It's transforming into something actually tradable.
That's the core idea.
So our mission in this deep dive is to explore these emerging markets for your data, how they might actually work, and the pretty profound impact of AI-generated synthetic data on its future.
Yeah, it's a really fundamental shift, often surprising, too. Think of this as your shortcut to getting a handle on a complex landscape.
But super important, hopefully filled with some insights that make you rethink, your digital life.
Definitely.
So let's kick things off with the big idea. For decades, our personal data felt, I don't know, nebulous, immensely valuable to tech giants, sure, but we were just passive bystanders.
That's a good way to put it. Passive.
What's fundamentally changing now that suggests we're finally moving towards,
Yeah.
well, you actually owning your data?
It's a real paradigm shift, driven largely by legal evolution, actually. While we've all kind of been unknowingly trading our digital selves for free services.
Right, the classic trade-off.
Yeah, the legal landscape has quietly been laying the groundwork for something very different. Landmark privacy regulations, especially GDPR in Europe.
The General Data Protection Regulation.
Exactly. And the CCPA in California, the California Consumer Privacy Act, they've sort of inadvertently set the stage for data commodification.
It's almost ironic, isn't it? Laws meant for privacy are pushing us towards property rights. So GDPR came in 2018, big framework, principles like transparency, data minimization.
Mm.
We hear about those. But which principle do you think really stands out? The one that kind of accidentally started this push towards data ownership?
That's a great question. It's probably not the most obvious one. Things like fairness, purpose limitation, they're crucial, of course.
Sure.
But the real game changer, I'd argue, is accountability.
Accountability, how so?
Well, it's fascinating because it's not just about saying you comply. Organizations have to demonstrate compliance. They have to prove it.
Ah, okay, so it makes the data flow traceable.
Precisely. Auditable. Contestable. Think about it. If you can track where your data goes, who has it, how they're using it, suddenly you have the paperwork, basically. The foundation to assert control. And ultimately, ownership.
Okay, so accountability is like the blueprint.
Yeah.
Then the bundle of rights in GDPR are the tools. Things like the right of access.
Right, inspecting your property.
Or the right to rectification, fixing errors.
Maintaining the asset's quality.
And the right to erasure, the right to be forgotten. Getting rid of it.
Destroying the asset, exactly.
Yeah, but which one is the real catalyst for making it a commodity?
Hands down, it's the right to data portability. This is where it gets really interesting.
Portability, moving your data around.
Yeah, lawmakers intended it to just let you switch services easily, like take your photos from one cloud provider to another. Simple enough, right?
Seems reasonable.
But what they inadvertently created was a kind of universal key. The right demands your data in a structured, commonly used, and machine-readable format, and crucially gives you the right to transmit it to another controller.
So before this, data was locked up in these corporate silos.
Totally locked up.
Portability unlocks it, makes it fungible, transferable, like a real digital asset.
You got it. They were trying to give us the freedom to leave a service, but they accidentally created this powerful commercial enabler.
Wow. Okay. And California's CCPA, which was amended by CPRA, that builds on this.
It does. Similar rights, no, delete, correct. But critically, CCPA establishes a very clear right to opt out of the sale or sharing of personal information.
Sale or sharing, that's explicit.
Very explicit. It directly acknowledges data's commercial value. No bones about it.
And their definition of personal information is super broad too, right? It's not just name and email.
You're absolutely right. It goes way beyond direct identifiers. It includes inferences drawn to create these hyper-realistic digital profiles, your preferences, characteristics, behaviors.
So the profile a company builds about me is also mine to control.
Under CCPA, yes. That detailed picture of you also subject to your control.
So let's sum this up. These laws, GDPR, CCPA, they've basically settled the ownership question. The individual is the owner.
That's the emerging consensus, yeah.
Yeah.
Businesses are more like stewards, controllers, processors. They have a temporary license based on consent for specific uses.
So paradoxically, privacy law, trying to protect us, gave us the tools to actually participate in the data economy. On our own terms, maybe?
That's the potential, exactly. The tools are there.
Okay, we've mapped the legal side. But there's this huge ethical question hanging over all of this, isn't there? Should your life, captured as data even be a tradable good? It feels fundamental, dignity, autonomy.
It absolutely strikes at the heart of it, and you have these two almost irreconcilable viewpoints battling it out.
Oh,
On
no.
one side, you have what people call the dignitarian view. They argue really strongly against commodification. They see personal data as a, quote, toxic asset.
Toxic asset.
I know.
Wow, why toxic?
Well, the argument is, once your data is out there, it makes you incredibly vulnerable. Manipulation, shaming, identity theft, unfair discrimination.
In jobs, insurance, loans.
Exactly. Crucial stuff. They draw parallels to things we've mostly agreed aren't for sale. People, votes, court decisions, organs. Personal data, being so intimate, should be on that list, they argue.
Any examples where this went wrong?
The crisis text line scandal is often cited. Data from people in acute mental distress was being analyzed, anonymized, they said, but still monetized for customer service insights. It felt like a huge moral line was crossed.
So selling data isn't just a transaction. It chips away at being human.
That's the fear. Reducing rich experience to data points for sale. And there are major social justice concerns, too.
Like what?
They worry privacy becomes a luxury good. Pay-for-privacy models emerge. Only the wealthy can afford to shield their data,
Creating a data underclass whose lives are totally exposed.
while the rich retreat into digital privacy. Yeah, a data inequality. It's a stark vision.
Okay, that's one side. But then you mentioned the proprietarian view, arguing for commodification. What's their logic?
Their logic is also pretty compelling, just from a different angle. They say, look, a multi-trillion-dollar data economy already exists. We're in it.
Right, it's not hypothetical.
Exactly. So recognizing data as property is the only fair and practical way to empower individuals to claim their share. They see the current system as this murky shadow market, opaque, rigged.
And a formal regulated market would bring transparency, fairness.
That's the argument. Bring it out into the open. Plus, let's be honest, lots of people are willing to trade data for stuff. Discounts, free apps, rewards.
True.
This view aims to shift power away from the big tech digital oligarchies, as some call them, back to the people generating the value, the individuals.
Okay, so two powerful conflicting views.
Yeah.
Maximizing economic return versus protecting the inner self. Seems like a clash. Is it all or nothing?
Probably not. The future is likely going to involve what the legal scholar Margaret Jane Rading called incomplete commodification.
Incomplete commodification.
Meaning not all data gets treated the same. Society might say, okay, really sensitive stuff, genetics, health records, private messages, that's off limits, or heavily restricted.
But maybe less sensitive stuff like purchase history.
Yeah, maybe that gets freer trade. It'll likely be a highly regulated ecosystem, a compromise hammered out through public debate and politics.
Okay, so we've got new rights, ethical debates. If data is becoming this tradable asset, the next big question is, how do you value it? It seems so intangible.
It's incredibly complex. Yeah, intangible is right. Unlike, say, oil or gold, your data isn't used up when someone uses it. Economists call that non-rival risk.
Okay.
And its value is super contextual. There's no single price tag. It really depends on a bunch of factors.
Like what?
Well, the type of data matters. Sensitive info, financial, health, biometrics usually commands a higher value.
Makes sense.
Quality is huge. Is it accurate, complete, up-to-date, relevant? Context and uniqueness matter too. Like, your frequent flyer data is way more valuable to an airline than to, say, a grocery store. And value often increases exponentially when you aggregate it, finding patterns across many people. Oh, and how it was acquired data with clear consent, compliant with laws like GDPR, is worth more. Lower legal risk.
Okay, lots of factors. So how do experts actually try to put a number on it? I know Gartner has this infonomics framework.
Right, infonomics. They outline three main approaches. First, cost-based models. What did it cost to acquire or replace the data? But that's kind of subjective, often disconnected from what the data actually does economically.
It doesn't seem very useful.
Not always. Then there are market-based models. What does similar data sell for on the open market? You look at the data brokerage industry, for example. That market's huge, projected to grow from maybe $305 billion in 2025 to over $500 billion, maybe $585 billion by 2034.
Wow, $500 billion. That definitely shows someone values aggregated personal data high.
Oh, absolutely. But the most sophisticated method is using economic value models. These try to quantify the actual economic benefit. How much does this data increase revenue, or reduce costs, or improve a process, or cut down risk?
That sounds like the most relevant approach, measuring the actual impact.
It is. It ties the value directly to the bottom line.
But this brings us back to that asymmetry, doesn't it? My single data point isn't worth much alone. but aggregate millions of them. And platforms make fortunes. Feels like I'm always going to get the short end of the stick.
You've hit on a really crucial point. It's a massive imbalance, and it really strengthens the case for things like collective bargaining, which we can talk about.
Yeah, definitely. So how is data being monetized now? What are the main models?
There's a whole spectrum. On one end, you've got the dominant models, the ones centered on
It's
platform.
like surveillance capitalism.
Yeah.
Google, Meta, using our profiles to sell targeted ads. Our payment is our data monetized behind the scenes.
Exactly. Or internal uses Uber's dynamic pricing based on demand patterns from user data, Tesla using fleet data to train its self-driving AI. That's indirect monetization.
Okay. What else?
Then there's direct monetization. That's the classic data broker business axiom Experian. They explicitly sell or license data sets.
Right. Selling lists.
Or even inverted monetization. A company uses its insights about you to recommend other companies' products for a commission, like your bank suggesting an insurance plan based on your spending.
Ah, interesting. Okay, so that's the platform-centric end. What about models putting the individual more in control, the emerging stuff?
Right, the potentially disruptive models. You have pay for privacy, PFP choose, free service with data collection, or pay for a premium private version.
But we mentioned the criticism there makes privacy a luxury.
Exactly. The really radical shift is the personal data economy, the PDE, where individuals actively, consciously participate. They license their data directly to companies, maybe for cash, maybe for personalized deals. Platforms like DataCoop are trying this.
Okay, let's connect these dots. It sounds less like one model wins and more like a mix, a hybrid future.
You got it. That seems most likely. Big tech firms are launching their own data marketplaces now. Traditional companies are realizing they generate valuable data too.
So everyone's becoming a data player.
Pretty much. It's creating this complex, multi-layered data economy. In the future, one company might use ads, indirect, sell aggregated insights on a marketplace, direct, buy demographic data from a broker, and license super high-quality health data directly from individuals via a data union, all at once.
Which leads us perfectly into these new market mechanisms,
Huh.
data unions and personal data marketplaces.
Right.
If we're going to have a real personal data economy, we need new structures, right? To handle transactions, build trust, rebalance that power asymmetry.
Absolutely. Personal data marketplaces are basically online platforms, connect data sellers, providers with data buyers, consumers. We already see this in the business-to-business world. Snowflake, AWS Data Exchange, those are big examples.
For companies trading data.
But the newer, more radical idea is marketplaces for individuals. Platforms like Datum, maybe Data Wallet, where you or I could pool our data and sell it with consent controls.
Sounds good in theory,
Mm.
but I imagine there are big hurdles. Security, privacy, getting enough people involved.
Huge hurdles, absolutely. Technical challenges, building critical mass, establishing trust. It's tough. But while marketplaces are the where, data unions or data cooperatives are more about the who and the how.
Data unions. Like labor unions, but for data. Is that the analogy?
That's exactly the analogy. Just like unions gave workers collective bargaining power against big companies.
Data unions give individuals collective bargaining power against big data platforms.
Precisely. You pool your data with other members. The union negotiates on everyone's behalf price, usage terms, security, liability. Any revenue generated gets distributed back to the members.
That sounds potentially really powerful. How might they be organized? Are there any real ones yet?
They could be organized lots of ways. Geographically, maybe by platform, like a union for all Facebook users, or by data type, say, for patients with a certain medical condition. And yes, there are examples. Swash is one. It's a browser extension that pools anonymized browsing data. They have over 200,000 members already, showing this model can work.
And this addresses that market for lemons problem we talked about, where the buyer knows way more about the data's value than the individual seller.
It tackles it head on. Data unions can hire their own experts. Data scientists, lawyers, ethicists, they can accurately value the pooled data, properly vet potential buyers, negotiate strong contracts. They act as trusted intermediaries. They certify quality, enforce standards. It potentially turns a low-trust mess into a viable market where individuals actually get a fair shake.
Okay, now let's shift gears a bit. There's this other massive development changing the whole conversation. Synthetic data.
Ah, yes. Huge topic.
Artificial AI-generated data that mimics real data, it feels like moving from analog to digital, but for data itself.
That's an excellent analogy, actually. Think of real data like like a live concert recorded on an old analog tape. It captures everything. The music, sure, but also the crowd noise, the buzz in the air, maybe someone coughing. It's rich, continuous, messy. It includes all the noise, the unpredictable, chaotic, authentic stuff of human life, outliers, new trends nobody expected. It's the ground truth.
Messy but authentic, so synthetic data is the digital version,
Right.
cleaned up.
Exactly. It's like taking that analog tape, digitizing it, cleaning up the hiss, maybe even remixing it based on the main patterns.
Yeah.
It's an artificial, structured, scalable approximation generated by AI models like Jan's generative adversarial networks.
So it's cleaner, more structured, but it's an approximation. What does it miss?
That's the key point, the fidelity gap. High-quality synthetic data can be amazing, but it struggles to reproduce that random analog noise, those weird, extreme outliers. And those outliers are often the most valuable bits of real data, especially for spotting totally new things, black swan events.
So an AI trained only on synthetic data might miss the truly novel stuff. It would be good at predicting based on the past, but blind to something completely new.
That's a major limitation, yes. It means real data is definitely not becoming obsolete.
Okay, that's important.
Absolutely. Raw, noisy, real-world data. That's still the gold standard, the ultimate ground truth. You need it to check if your synthetic data is actually any good. You need it to test AI models in real conditions.
Yeah.
And you need it to capture those unpredictable things you just can't synthesize from past patterns. The simulation always needs checking against reality.
Got it. And the market for this synthetic stuff is just exploding, right? I saw numbers like $310 million in 2024, maybe jumping to over $2 billion to even $6 billion plus in the next few years, like 45% annual growth.
The growth is phenomenal, off the charts, and it's driven by a few key things. First, training AI and machine learning models. Synthetic data gives you massive, labeled, balanced data sets basically on demand, solves huge bottlenecks where real data is scarce, expensive, or full of bias.
Okay, AI training, what else?
Privacy compliance. This is huge. Synthetic data is a type of privacy-enhancing technology, a PT. You can develop and test algorithms without ever touching sensitive personal info, PII. Crucial for regulated industries like healthcare, finance.
Makes sense. Saves time and money too, I bet. Less real-world data collection, cleaning, labeling.
Exactly. Big cost and time savings. Plus, it's great for generating edge cases. You can programmatically create scenarios that are rare but critical. Think about autonomous vehicles needing to handle bizarre situations. Makes the AI much more robust.
Gartner even predicts, 60% of data for AI will be synthetic by 2024, overshadowing real data by 2030.
Those are the predictions, yeah. It shows the scale of the shift.
So if we compare them, real data, synthetic data, maybe a hybrid approach, across things like accuracy, usefulness, privacy, cost, scalability, bias,
Yeah.
how do they stack up? Is one clearly better?
Well, real data is the benchmark for fidelity for capturing true complexity, but high privacy risk, high cost, hard to scale. Synthetic data offers amazing privacy protection. It's cheap to generate more once you have the model, super scalable, but it's an approximation. Fidelity isn't perfect, might miss those outliers or novel things.
Right, the fidelity cap. So what about mixing them? The hybrid model? Best of both worlds. Or other catches?
It often is the sweet spot. The main challenge is making sure the synthetic part accurately reflects the real nuances and doesn't accidentally bake in new biases. That requires careful validation.
But generally it works well.
Generally, yes. Research often shows models trained on a hybrid mix outperform models trained on just real or just synthetic data alone. And if managed well, it can offer the lowest overall risk for bias. It's kind of optimizing, getting good utility and scale, managing cost, while keeping a handle on privacy and bias risks.
What's really fascinating here, though, is that synthetic data doesn't replace real data. It sounds like they need each other. A symbiosis.
A deep, necessary symbiosis. That's exactly right. The quality of synthetic data depends entirely on the quality of the real data used to train the AI that generates it. You know the saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
So real data stays essential for validating the generators, for testing the final AI models, and crucially, for capturing those brand new phenomena that synthetic models trained on the past just can't predict.
So the hybrid model uses synthetic data to augment real data.
Exactly. Augment, not replace. You can use it to expand small, real data sets, or generate data for underrepresented groups to fight bias, or replace sensitive PII for privacy, or create those rare edge cases for robustness.
And this creates a kind of economic feedback loop, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The boom in synthetic data actually increases the demand for high-quality, ethically sourced, context-rich real data, because you need good real data to make good
Yeah.
synthetic data.
It absolutely fuels it. It's a powerful dynamic. It strengthens the whole argument for commodifying personal data properly, and it provides this huge tailwind for the data markets and data unions we've talked about. It makes high-quality, consented real data even more of a premium asset.
So let's try to pull all these threads together. What does this all mean for, the future of our digital life? It's got this surprising legal shift towards ownership, this evolving architecture for monetization and markets, and this symbiotic dance between real and synthetic data.
It definitely points towards a new kind of data social contract, though what it looks like exactly, that's still being written. You can imagine a few scenarios. Maybe one is the truly empowered individual, where data unions go mainstream and really do rebalance power.
Okay, that's one possibility.
Or you could see a more corporate-controlled synthetic reality. A few dominant tech giants mediate much of our digital experience through their AI, trained on their vast synthetic data reserves, which are themselves based on initial real data collection.
Kind of a walled garden, but made of data.
Sort of. And maybe the most likely scenario,
Yeah.
a hybrid tiered market. You'll still have the big platforms doing indirect monetization, ads, and so on. You'll still have a lively data brokerage market. But alongside them, data unions and personal data marketplaces carve out this crucial niche. They become the premium providers of high-quality, fully consented, context-rich, real data.
So personal data becomes tiered, where consent and quality add real value.
Exactly. Control becomes a value proposition.
Which means data ownership isn't just about money, it's really about power, isn't it? Control over our digital reality.
It absolutely is. Think about the algorithms shaping everything.
Mhm.
News feeds, job offers, product recommendations, even potential relationships, they all run on data.
Right.
If ownership is highly centralized, you risk these digital oligarchies, maybe reinforcing biases, maybe manipulating behavior. Shifting ownership towards individuals or collectives like unions could democratize that power, allow communities to say no to harmful uses or yes to beneficial ones.
But we're not quite there yet. There's still big hurdles,
Yeah.
right? Like making data portability actually work seamlessly. It's still pretty clunky.
That's a huge one, lack of universal standards. And let's be frank, platforms don't always have a strong incentive to make leaving easy.
Sure, what else?
Securing these new decentralized markets, a global marketplace with millions of individuals, that's a massive target for bad actors. And governance for data unions, how are they structured legally? How do you ensure they're democratic, accountable, and don't just create a new elite?
Big questions. And then the ethics of synthetic data itself. As the AI gets better, the potential for misuse, deepfakes, biased synthetic populations, that grows too.
Definitely. We need strong ethical frameworks for generating and using synthetic data, even if it's not real PII, to prevent those kinds of harms.
So it feels like the marketable self has arrived whether we were ready or not.
It seems that way.
And the huge challenge for the next decade or two is building the architecture, the markets, the rules, the social contract that can somehow balance economic efficiency with human dignity, individual empowerment with collective good, innovation with, well, preserving some kind of authentic reality.
That's the tightrope we have to walk.
A lot to think about. What stands out to you listening to this about the implications for your own digital life?